Where I've seen a lot of coaches miss the mark and really harm themselves is where they'll give out the complimentary session. They do great work. They do wonderful stuff for their client on that complimentary call. But then at the end of it, they just leave it up to the customer to decide, hey, I want to buy it. Schedule me more. Chase new business. Know your process. Manage your time.
How to retain this client forever?
Ask your customers for their opinions. That's the best way to keep your customers, those 80%, from leaving or being willing to leave to a competitor. Talk to more people, be a master of what you do, and learn how to close.
Hi, my name is Daria and welcome to Introwise. Today we have an expert salesman, Scott Paulsen. Scott, I'm happy to have you here.
Hey, great to be with you, Daria. Thanks for having me on.
You told in one of the interviews about discounts. You have the very strong opinion on this question. So,
Yes.
How do you think are discounts really work for generating more profit, or just you should avoid them?
Personally, as a salesperson, I don't like them. And I coach salespeople to never discount. But from an organizational standpoint, they can serve a purpose if they're very strategic about it. And the discount, the only time I would ever use a discount is if it corresponds to volume, an increase in volume. I'll sell you one. Training session for $1,000, or you can buy 5 for $800 each. I've given them a discount, a 20% discount, but they've got to buy more. So that generates a little bit more revenue. In that case, I like them. But generally speaking, if a salesperson is just giving a discount to try to close a sale, they haven't established the value of what they bring to the table. They have not really conveyed to their prospective buyer what they're going to get out of working with their company. You know, what they're going to get out of the product, what they're going to get out of the service, what they're going to get from working with that salesperson as an individual. So they've got to do a better job of really what's their value add proposition, what are the value add items that come as part of the sale, and then how do you communicate that in a way to the buyer to where they feel confident that, yes, I am getting value out of this, and that price is fair. So it's kind of a two-sided coin there. But generally speaking, I hate them.
Okay, what do you think about complimentary session with an expert? Do you used to have it?
A complimentary session with an expert?
Yes, for example, there are a lot of complimentary sessions when you just find a coach, you could have complimentary session. Not everyone has now complimentary sessions, but many of coaches, consultants, they propose the session just to build maybe a rapport with a person who would like to take a course or something else. Do you, it usually work?
They can work if they're done properly. We do complimentary sessions. We call them diagnostic calls. But at the end of that call, at the end of that session, there has to be a next step, a very clearly defined next step. Where I've seen a lot of coaches miss the mark and really harm themselves is where they'll give out the complimentary session. They do great work. They do wonderful stuff for their client on that complimentary call. But then at the end of it, they just leave it up to the customer to decide, hey, I want to buy it. Schedule me more. That's usually not going to be the case. So they have to have a call to action, a next step that says, hey, look, if you enjoyed this, here are certain packages that we can do, and here's how I can fit you into my schedule. They have to move that buyer into the paying customer role. And that's part of not being strategic. If they have a strategy for it, then they'll start doing much, much better on their complimentary sessions.
So, and how to deal with a question, I couldn't afford it. Usually, professionals, entrepreneurs, they couldn't afford, for example, a sales person who could help them to increase sales. And on the other side, clients now usually couldn't afford a consultant. How to deal with it from both sides?
Well, what they're really saying when they say, "Oh, I can't afford it," is they're saying it's not important enough yet. Because if they're a business, if they're a professional, we all have a certain amount of money that we can spend as a business or as an individual, and we always make decisions about what we're going to buy. So the things that become the most important, the things that are the highest priorities, we'll spend money on.
How
Now,
to form this priority?
that's my secret sauce right there.
Tell me it,
How do we
please.
elevate that into a priority? There you go. Okay, that is the wonderful thing about our program is that we take that's where we spend most of our time working with our customers and to understanding the buyer. We understand what the need is, but at any given time, we have dozens of needs floating around in our brain, right? I have a need to take a drink of water. I have a need to go to the gym. I have the need to pay bills. I have the need to make a lot more money in my business. I got lots and lots of needs. And we're always prioritizing them. One gets more priority attention than the other. So, how do I make my particular need a priority for you? And that comes through energizing questions. You got to know the consequences of not taking action. And if that coach will start working with their with their prospective client in understanding the consequences of not accomplishing what they're trying to accomplish or not getting the opportunity seized that they're trying to seize, then they will start realizing, oh, maybe I should try to allocate some money towards this. Maybe this should be more important in my life. But that's where most salespeople miss it, is they think just because the customer has a need that they're going to buy. And when they realize, oh, that customer's not going to buy, then they say, oh, maybe I should discount it. Or the customer says, well, I really can't afford that. What they're saying is, it's just not important enough yet. You haven't made it important enough to them yet. And how you do that is very strategic in the questions and the statements that you use even before then.
And if we are talking about habits, always we know that the decisions that we make usually connected with the habit we have in our life, yeah? And the best habits, what could you tell me about the best habits which separates high productive sellers from low ones? Just three. Could you count
Three
them?
habits?
Yeah.
Okay, three habits. Three habits that so we've done a study of salespeople, thousands of salespeople, and we've separated the average performer, the top performer, and then the elite performer. The elite performer, that only 5% of all salespeople ever become elite. They always make their sales quota. They very rarely discount, and they have certain traits that stand out from the other groups. So these are their habits that they use. Number one, they don't mind prospecting for business. If there aren't enough leads coming in, they schedule time for prospecting, whether that's on the phone, whether that's email, whether that's asking for referrals, whatever it is, and they have a great attitude about it. So that's number one. Always be searching for new business. Number two, have a system. Elite performers, 67 or 68% of elite performers have a sales process, a well-defined sales process. The average performers, only about 30% of them have a sale, a process. Okay, so have a process, know what it is. And then the third habit is manage your time well. Get a good time management system. Again, elite performers, 70% of them have a well-defined time management system. Average performers, only about 40% of them have a time management system. So chase new business, know your process, manage your time.
Okay, and then if we are following all these principles, then we would like to retain our customer. If we got the customer from the buyer and we take this 10% from 90, then how to retain this client forever with you? Could it work or for years just to be I had an interview with one insurance agent and he said me that it's important to be somewhere near the client. Some were very, very near, just, would you like help? Do you need help?
Right.
No? Okay. Do you need something from me? No? No? Okay, I will call you later. So every time just be very patient, but very, very, very near. What do you think about this type of working?
Yeah. Well, that's very true. I've seen a study that 80% of your existing customers that are happy, of all the customers that you have that are happy with your service, that are happy with your product, 80% of them are willing to leave you. They're willing to go to a competitor. And that's been true for decades. Okay. So the last part in our selling process, or the final stage in it, is what we call relationship. And it's about setting up a feedback system. How frequently will we contact our customers? How frequently will we stay engaged with them? And not just, hey, looking for orders, hey, can I get another order from you? But ask your customers for their opinions. They'll give it to you. And then they'll start trusting you a little bit more. Hey, he just called me to find out what was going on in the industry, what was going on with the company. Didn't try to sell me anything. He just wants to know what's going on. Oh, okay. That's called a professional relationship. And that's the best way to keep your customers, those 80%, from leaving or being willing to leave to a competitor.
Because find a new customer 5 times harder than retain what you had before. That's amazing, Scott. And the last but not the least, and at the end, so what should people who just start or in the process of switching to another business or just would like to boost their sales in their current business, what they should do in just 3 steps?
Talk to more people, be a master of what you do, and learn how to close, learn how to sell.
And I would like to remind you that Introwise is all about inspiration, tech, and business. And you could be registered just in 3 minutes and for free.